changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration to make you simply happy. It's Motivational Monday, and today I want to talk about adopting dogs from shelters. This is one of our biggest passions at Chicken Soup for the Soul. We make a whole line of dog and cat food, regular and grain-free, and we provide tons of food to shelters and rescue organizations every month. We have a lot of rescue dogs and cats in the families of our team, too. You can even see one of my own granddogs, Riley, who is a rescued pug, on our website in the pet section because she's our mascot. We feature rescue dogs and cats in our books because we're trying to open everyone's eyes, hoping that when they decide to add a dog or cat to their families, their first inclination will be to go to a local shelter. And we particularly feature the harder-to-adopt animals, black cats, black dogs, pit bulls and pit bull mixes, and senior cats and dogs. So I was very moved when I read a story called Golden Oldies, and we published it in one of our latest pet books, Chicken Soup for the Soul, My Very Good, Very Bad Dog. Peggy Friesen, who wrote the story, is one of my heroes now, along with her husband, Mike. It all started when Peggy and Mike were looking to adopt a dog after losing their yellow lab. They still had a spaniel mix at home, and they wanted to add another dog to the family. So they contacted Pepper Tree, which was a dog rescue group in their area. Pepper Tree sent them a picture of a large golden retriever, but Peggy could see that the dog was old and sick. He had crooked teeth, patchy fur, and he was so undernourished that she could see his ribs. Worst of all, the rescue group estimated he was 11, which meant he wouldn't live much longer. But Mike fell in love immediately, and he wanted to adopt the dog just from seeing the photo. Peggy was reluctant. She didn't want to take on all the health issues of an elderly, abused dog, and she also feared falling in love with a dog that was so near the end of its natural life. Mike went to visit the dog alone, and he told Peggy that he was hard to resist. So Peggy went to meet him, too. She took him for a walk, and she found that the old boy was obedient and did well on the leash. But like many abandoned, traumatized dogs, he wouldn't look her in the eye, and he seemed rather reserved. So she still had her doubts. But then Mike said 3 magic words. He needs us. That stopped Peggy in her tracks. She hadn't thought of it that way. She realized something important. It wasn't about what the dog could do for them. It was about what they could do for the dog. They could give him a warm, loving home for however much time he had left. They could give that sad, scared, abused dog the comfort and dignity he deserved in his final years. They brought the dog home, and he ended up warming up to them quickly. And despite whatever hard life he had come from, it turned out he had no emotional issues or bad habits. He didn't run around or chew the furniture or cry at night. He napped during the day, and he was content to go on a few ambling walks. Peggy and Mike found that an older dog fit perfectly into their lifestyle because older dogs are easier. They don't need as much exercise, and they're content to just hang out with their humans. That old golden retriever died only a year after Peggy and Mike adopted him, but they were so glad they had shared his last year of life. And since then, they've rescued more senior dogs. Today, their spaniel mix is 13 years old, and they have a 10-year-old golden retriever that they rescued. Peggy says that when the time comes for both of those elderly dogs, they'll go back to the rescue organization to pick out another senior dog that needs them. It's a great reminder to consider a senior dog, whether it's for you or your parents or anyone you know who could provide a loving home for an older dog, one that is actually easier to care for in many ways than a younger, more active dog. I'm Amy Newmark. Thank you for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. If you'd like to read some useful tips about dogs from Chicken Soup for the Soul, My Very Good, Very Bad Dog, go to our website, chickensoup.com. And please come back tomorrow, which is Election Day in America. I'm going to share a couple of stories about the privileges of citizenship from Chicken Soup for the Soul, The Spirit of America. One story about voting and one about serving on juries.